So I was hanging out at my friend's house, and he showed me in the basement that he had the Worm Factory 360, so I thought I'd take a look at it. Pretty simple concept. There's a number of different ways that you can have vermicomposting going on, and I actually really like this system overall. You have a number of trays. You can get from like 3 to 5 trays, and it's plastic. So right off the bat, my concern there is breathability, because worms obviously need oxygen in order to perform at their best level. But as you know, I'm a Worm In fan. I like using the bag because it's a breathable bag and everything. So I was like really skeptical before I actually opened the lid on this thing. Overall though, this thing does get a lot of attention, and it also has a spigot at the bottom for draining the leftover leachate. And it's a pretty simple concept that the worms start in the bottom with all the food, and then as you add more scraps, you put them in each of the next trays, and as it goes up, the worms are supposed to migrate up and leave the perfect castings behind. So now let's take a look at the inside and see if that's really the case. Before we go inside, I just wanted to show you the lid of this thing. It's pretty awesome. It actually gives you all the tips you really need to know about vermicomposting, and looking over it, there's not really much that it's forgetting. Overall, you have your mixture, because obviously you want to have your scraps, but you don't want to overfeed the worms, so therefore you're going to want to make sure you add plenty of shredded cardboard and shredded paper. It says to avoid citrus, meat, and dairy in there, so that's nice that it includes that. Really, you don't have to avoid citrus, but maybe just add it in lighter quantities than your normal stuff. Overall, then it gives you a list of what's considered fiber and what food scraps work, as well as it tells you about your optimum temperature. And I think most basements would be totally fine. So it says keep it in a dry and cool location. So there you have it. And so we open it up. How's he doing? He put a bunch of paper scraps in here. I really like this stuff. And there's not really a lot of worms in here, so let's go to a different bin to see where the real action is. So the video footage will get a little sketchy here for a bit as I move stuff around, but you'll get the point. Going down just 2 trays, it's really hard to see how gorgeous the castings are in here, but I can't believe how nice these castings are. Because like I said, I've had plastic trays and they can be kind of hit or miss. But just looking at this stuff, I mean, it's really nice. And another thing that I'd like to mention that I never see anyone talk about is how great this smells. You would think that, 30, 50 pounds of worm crap might smell kind of weird. It doesn't. It smells great. One quick other note I noticed is that on the bottom here, we have a spigot for the worm leachate. So, yeah, there we go. And so what I would say about that is I wouldn't let that be the selling point for the Worm Factory, but just know that it's cool that it's there, and that you should consider making sure that that's nice and drained as much as possible, just because you don't want the system to get so wet that you start drowning all your worms. So that would definitely be something I would keep in mind. Pros and cons. I would say first and foremost, the pros is that you get amazing castings as an end result, and I know that he's really happy with it. And it's also been really set and forget for him as well. Like, he just comes down, puts in scraps from time to time, and since that it's made out of plastic, it's not a very breathable system, which seems like a bad thing, and in a way it is, but in a way it's good because it makes sure that the inside is moist. So you don't have to worry about this thing really drying out. I think that's actually the main reason that the spigot is on here, is in order to keep this from getting too saturated on the inside, which actually will end up killing your worms. But the tray system is a very clean system. You don't have to really get your hands dirty if you don't want to. And the last thing that I would mention here, which I guess is more of a con actually, is that other than the price, it is a little bit expensive, but I do like this system. In general, it's pretty clean. And lastly, if you're trying to harvest castings out of here, and I've seen this seems to be one of the main questions for this, I would take your most finished tray, which would probably be at the bottom, put it on the top, take the lid off, put it underneath a light, because you know worms can't stand light. So put it underneath a light and give it a good, I'd say maybe a day or so, and check up on it every couple hours, and the worms should migrate into a different tray. Maybe put some fresh scraps in the tray directly underneath, and I would say the amount of worms you'll have to pull out of the top tray will be minimized. You don't have to worry about them leaving because, like I said, they don't want the light, so they're just going to go down. So that would be my advice for how to empty this the easiest. So, I hope you enjoyed this quick little video on the worm in. You should definitely hit the like button below and leave some comments for me. That'd be great if this turned into a forum for people that use the Worm Factory to really talk about and share their experiences with it, all the good things and the bad things, and even show some stuff that they've grown with the castings, because I know that you can get some really nice stuff using the end product of this, and you're keeping waste out of the landfill and so on and so forth. So, this is Tyler Weaver from Crazy About Compost signing off. Take care, keep it dirty. Thanks.